Pathfinder, no, D&D 5th edition log. Ugh, my voice is crap tonight. So it's late, and I decided to do this now because reasons. So, Sunday night was Dungeons and Dragons night, and according to the rules recommended by the delightful Katie Brown, our governor, we had a small get-together to deal with some monsters of pen and paper. Welcome back to the D&D 5e log, part 2 of our new adventure. David, the Dungeon Master, Sam, Mags, and myself, players in his game. So, this is the first official adventure that we are all having together. There's my character, the Chadiator. I fell in love with the character concept. He is a Chad sorcerer. Who else? Sam's character, Kelvin or something, a drow bard. Interesting. And Mags's character, an elven, no, sorry, a tiefling, right, sulfur elf, a tiefling druid, of all things. And, as will be introduced, David was running an NPC helper man called Greg or something. He is a Minotaur. So, reading off of Sam's notes, we start off in the provisionally named Sunspire City. David had a bunch of stuff prepared, and he didn't send himself the names of things for the night's activities. So, David, great DM, very squared away. You know, missed one detail. No big deal. We get to make up fun names for things then, right? My character arrives in the outskirts of this major city, groups of small villages, and we are called into town, some suburb, I suppose, to do a job. We're all looking to get into the adventuring lifestyle, working contracts until bigger things sweep us up, no doubt. I arrive along with a Minotaur warrior named Grinman. Gary it is. And we hit it off right away. You know, both of our characters are massive, burly dudes. So I like to think we did that, you son of a bitch, handshake, you know, from Predator. And I certainly wouldn't mind acting out other scenes in that one as well. I don't feel the need to be the last one standing as everybody else gets slaughtered around me by horrible monsters, but you know, we're working our way there, starting with Sam. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Starting with Kelvin, or whatever his name is. Celsius. Okay, what else? We meet at the town hall, and we learn that to the east, there is a rumor of undead snatching people, and supposedly at least 3 people have gone missing in the area. As well, there's trouble to the west of this village that we're heading to, and another group of only 2 people is going to deal with that. Impressive. 2 doing the work of 4 very qualified level 1 adventurers. They must be senpais. Anyway, as usual, many puns were had that night, and I was completely annoying and endearing. I'm sure you'll all agree. What else? 3 people disappear. 2 folks are showing up, and our druid and our bard received a blessing from the Temple of Pelor to convert their weapon damage to radiant damage, which is no doubt much more effective against undead than standing at the curb and mocking the sale of priestly services, as my character did to the face of Greg, who wasn't all that interested in walking into a Temple of Pelor as well. Personal choices. I just don't have a ton of respect for people that sell spells. You know, it should be about passion. It should be about real power, not monetization. Am I right? In before Chadpocalypse. Anyway, we proceed along our way, along with our lovely cart and the pony who pulls it, Bucephalus, a warhorse in training in a very junior role who's just strong enough to pull the cart if there's nothing in it. He is in training. He'll grow strong one day, I'm sure, under my stern tutelage and deep, passionate care as a draftsman. Anyway, not a lot of scenery, not a lot of action as we make our way to the village. Sam writes, one might say it's pretty dead. Taking a break near the spooky forest wherein the people have been disappearing. The bard, that's Sam's character, Kevila, what's his name, takes first watch. And then, let's see, Grenman wanted to play some cards, but I didn't have any gold to wager, and he didn't want to play for push-ups, so we just hung out and talked. We had a lot of getting to know each other to do, after all. Everybody's more talkative before their first fight. And then a completely out of the blue note here. Francis is an idiot. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, my character's name is Francis. He doesn't always go by the moniker, the Chattiator. So, Kevlahuzitz takes first rest, meditating for 4 hours because he's an elf and he can't even properly sleep. And then, during that time, to break the fourth wall, we all rolled a fortitude save that we all passed. The strength-sapping presence of the undead was upon us. Not that that's something we were familiar with or recognized in character, but zombies aren't super subtle about their activity, and their attack was upon us in no time. We thankfully didn't get ambushed by zombies or surprised by the undead. That would be an ignominy that would be hard to live down, even in undeath. So, we shake the bard back to the material and roll initiative. I got a massively good initiative. Sam got a massively bad initiative, and he's sore about it in the notes. Anyway, let's see. Kevzy Webzy shoots a Zambus in the head for small amounts of damage. Cool beans. Mags's character, the Sulphur Elf, casts Fairy Fire on 2 of the zombies, and that gives us advantage on our attacks against them, which is fantastic. Very appreciated. I'll have to stop calling her Sulphur Elf if she keeps on doing stuff like that. Anyway, the Minotaur rushes into combat and just starts smashing people. And I started off firing, what's it called? The cantrip Ray of Frost at zombies, but that just wasn't keeping up with the carnage that the Minotaur, and I mean, even Mags's character was getting active in the fighting, so I would have to step up my game. But for now, pew pew! Shooting that Ray of Frost that can also slow enemies' movement, even more effective against zombies as they already have pretty trash movement speed. Not that people were tactically positioning all that much anyway. So we kill the zombies. And then we move deeper into the spooky forest. The elf hearing voices in his head. Spooky whispers. Everybody decides to sneak, and I'm not really great at that, so I'd like you to imagine a 420-pound dragonborn wearing what is essentially a garish luchador costume, attempting to be stealthy with no training. Shoulder rolls, Brasil, capoeira. Yeah, the Will-O-Wisp found us right away. So it attacks, and in the first round, shocks the bard horribly, and the drow goes down, dying once again. But it's okay this time. Mags healed him up right away, which is apparently a very good idea, because I guess in 5th edition, Will-O-Wisps like to suck the souls out of people that are dying. Delightful creatures. We smacked it up some. I started attacking it with my claw attacks, which I have access to because I have the dragon origin for my sorcerer. Lots of fun. What else? So we battered the Will-O-Wisp into submission. Other than that first hit, he didn't cause us too much trouble, and that's good because we're level 1, we don't have a ton of hit points, and he could one-shot most of us. Herein, Sam notes, Mags hit and killed the wisp. We rested, and the bard continues drinking heavily. Okay. We found more zombie tracks, and in tracing those down, we come to a part of the forest that's full of webs. It's spider time. So, seeing the webs, excuse me, clearly the work of larger than average spiders. The Chatiator himself, Francis the Magnificent, comes up with a magnificent plan. He casts Minor Illusion in the form of a 5-foot-tall halfling appearing to be caught in the web. And then I threw a handful of rocks into the web, or at the web. You know, get it shaken. See what drops down. Not on me, thank the Lord. And of course, icky, gross queen spider drops down from the canopy. Ordinary giant spider, but they always look bigger when they're hostile. To battle! I actually rolled complete garbo on my initiative, which is fine. I'm used to rolling terribly, that's why I try to build overpowered characters. Sam's character attacks. Miss. Understandable. Gren attacks. Hits with the hammer. Good hit. The spider attacks Gren, and his armor absorbs the blow. Good to know that one of us is actually wearing decent armor. It could matter at some point. I got a good hit on the big spider, and Mags breaks out the Thorn Whip cantrip, decides not to pull it toward her. Probably a good idea. The drow casts a sleep spell. You would have expected it sooner, but this is 5th edition after all. Sleep is not quite as overpowered as it is in other editions. The spider does go to sleep, but 2 swarms of spiders make their way into the fray. Yuck. Swarms are not quite as annoying in 5th edition as they are in Pathfinder. They do take damage from ordinary attacks, it's just reduced damage. One thing this group is not lacking in, if you're talking about the 2 studs of the group, those of us with the high strength scores, we're not lacking in melee damage. Like most level 1 characters, we lack survivability, so let's make these rolls count, shall we? Oh, and I guess the other 2 characters can do stuff too. I mean, come on. It's hard to compete with the damage output of high strength characters at low levels. These things will change. You know, the fact that the bard and the druid are catching crap for not dealing a lot of damage right now is just sort of a nice offset to the glory they will probably see in the future if they don't die. So we killed off... Oh, I guess I could tell you how it went down. Not all that exciting. Nobody got hit by any of the spiders, so huzzah! The spider swarm tried to find a chink in the armor of our Minotaur, but they could not circumnavigate his labyrinthine defenses. And in the end, after whittling down each of the enemies, my character runs back and releases a breath attack. I get 1 per rest. 2d6 cold damage in a 30-foot cone. Reflex for half. Old habits. It's actually a Constitution save for half. 5th edition. I have some learning to do. I probably also have some learning to do as a narrator. I know there's a lot that I missed out on with this summary. By the way, that was the end of the session. We got a level. Huzzah! Level 2. And that's when I started to learn. I mean, I saw other evidence for this before, but in leveling up to level 2, you don't really get a ton of stuff. And it seems like a lot of the numbers bloat has been reduced in 5th edition when you compare it to things like 3.5 and Pathfinder, with which I'm much more familiar, which you have to study because it's so ridiculously vast and there's so much room for power build shenanigans. I'm sure there's power builds in 5e, but it definitely seems more lined up toward giving everyone a somewhat balanced character, even if they don't know all of the information and all of the feats and ways to optimize. And that's something that I can appreciate, because more of a focus on roleplay sounds very exciting to me. And that's always more possible when you have well-rounded, reasonably balanced characters. At least, that's the hope. And David's a good DM. I'm really looking forward to next Sunday night, if the apocalypse doesn't change our plans. Anyway, guys, I hope you all I hope you both enjoyed that. For both of the people that watched these. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.